Continuing today with some more classic rock, whatever that is. I'm not sure what classic rock is. I'm not sure if it's defined by the sound or by the era, or I don't know by what standards it's considered to be classic rock, if that makes any sense. But I'm sure that Led Zeppelin is considered classic rock. That's what I'm going to talk about today. I did the Who's Next 2 weeks ago, maybe. I may have some more classic rock albums to talk about coming up soon, or at least at some point. We'll see. But I'm going to talk about Led Zeppelin today for the first time ever. Probably the only time ever. I can't imagine I'm going to buy any more Led Zeppelin albums. And I'll start by saying I hated Led Zeppelin. There was a long period of my life where I couldn't stand Led Zeppelin. I would put them in the same category. I've talked about this before with the Bon Scott era of AC/DC. Hated it. Now I love it. I like the Bon Scott era better than the Brian Johnson era overall. Although I think I still love For Those About to Rock and Back in Black more than anything Bon Scott did, maybe. But oh my God, when I was in high school, I thought Led Zeppelin sucked. For me, they were the old guys. At that point in high school, I've been into Kiss for a long time, and in high school, I was getting into Motley Crue. Metallica was maybe the year before high school. Iron Maiden I was already into. Van Halen, Rat, was in high school, and then later the thrash metal bands, Slayer and Death Angel, and Testament and Exodus and Anthrax. So to me at this point, when I was in like grade 9, or Americans would say ninth grade, when I was in grade 9 and I was listening to Metallica and Motorhead and Motley Crue and Rat, not AC/DC, whoever. It was the guys that were in grade 12 or the 12th grade that were, at that point, these guys may as well have been as old as my father. They were only, 3 or 4 years older. But the grade 12ers, they were a big deal. And Led Zeppelin, that was what the grade 12 people liked. And same with Aerosmith and I guess earlier AC/DC, Bon Scott era. And I just thought that's music for old guys, old men of 17. And Led Zeppelin just really, really turned me off. I hated Led Zeppelin. I guess I maybe liked their music, but just the whole spirit of Led Zeppelin, I just thought of them as old guys, and it wasn't the kind of music for me. I got the Led Zeppelin box set, if you remember. That came out in 1989 or 90 or 91. It was a big deal at that time. I had a friend called Don Robinson who worked at a record store when I lived in Canada. And he gave me that box set for almost free. I paid like cost for it or something like that, and never really did get into it. That was a big deal. That was when CDs were, that was probably 1990 when CDs were still new, and that box set was tremendously expensive at that point. And I got that. Never really got into it. And then some years ago, I got all their records, and now I've grown to appreciate and actually really like, and I would say in some regards, love Led Zeppelin. I still don't like Robert Plant's voice that much. I know he's a great singer. I know his he's an icon, and he's an immense presence in the rock world. But I just Rob Halford is like that. King Diamond is like that. I understand that they're great singers, but just never really did it for me. Musically, I think Led Zeppelin is great. But that's it. So I wanted to buy this album. There were some classic albums that I wanted to buy. And again, you may find out what those are at some point. But I felt like, you know what? I just needed one album by these bands. And I chose the first one because it probably is. No, I'm sure it is my favorite. I think Four or Zoso or Untitled, whatever it's called, with Misty Mountain Hop and Stairway to Heaven and Four Sticks. That's pretty close. I would say it's this one or Zoso, Led Zeppelin. Four, one of those are my favorite for sure. But this album, or this band, I guess Led Zeppelin, has really grown on me. And as I said, I do like them way better now. Led Zeppelin, and I've bought a couple of Led Zeppelin shirts over the last couple of years. I've done not a 360. That would be all the way around. I've done a 180 on Led Zeppelin. That's what I've done. So I guess that's all I have to say about that before I get to the track by track, which is now wasn't that short. So I've got it here. I got this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Haven't opened it yet, but I will open it now. Make sure it's the right one. Yes, it is. Obviously, I never had a Led Zeppelin record on vinyl. I had only the CDs that I just bought 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago. So this is a new experience for me. There's the back, all right, and there's the front. There it is. Everybody knows it. By the way, did you know why Led Zeppelin is called Led Zeppelin? It's because somebody said that this band is going to go down like a Led Zeppelin. It's true. It's true. You can search that for yourself. The hype sticker, it says the classic 1969 debut album on 180-gram vinyl includes Good Times, Bad Times, and Dazed and Confused, remastered by Jimmy Page. And it's got the Atlantic logo right on the record cover. I think maybe one of the things that kind of got me into Led Zeppelin, you know, a few years ago, I didn't realize, I think, until that time, how much Led Zeppelin, and I'll talk about this with at least one song here, how much like they are pretty similar to Black Sabbath. You know, I've said before, I think it's, there's no doubt that the first Black Sabbath album, that was the first heavy metal album, or the first, and Black Sabbath, I think, was the first heavy metal band. Led Zeppelin clearly had elements of what we would later know as heavy metal, and I guess I'll get to that. But, you know, similar, you know, they're both from England. They're both four pieces. I think Bill Ward and John Bonham could be compared. I think Geezer and John Paul Jones could be compared. Even maybe lesser, Jimmy Page and Tony Iommi. Robert Plant and Ozzy are totally different, but I think a lot of similarities. And also, this album came out just a year before the first Black Sabbath album. The first Black Sabbath album came out in 1970, and I know it came out in early 70, January, February 70. This came out in 1969. I'm not sure what month. I would guess early, and pretty heavy for 1969, Led Zeppelin. So I'm gonna come right back, and I'm gonna go through this track by track. Getting back to this track by track, I'm gonna go through this now. If I didn't show the back, I'm not sure if I did. And if I did, you get to see it twice. There it is again. So I'll go through this track. Ah, no, first, I gotta open it, and I forgot again. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm gonna open this up now. I think it's just regular classic black vinyl. No idea what to expect, what's inside. All right. Oh, it looks like I might be in for a disappointment. It looks like it might be just that white, just a plain white sleeve. It looks like. Let me take a look. Yeah, that's all. It's so disappointing to see. Is there anything else in there? No, that's all. Very disappointing to see that, isn't it? Yeah. And it's got the classic. Look at that Atlantic. I love that green, white, and red label. Whatever that is worth. So there it is. Come on, man. On these. Oh, you know what? Huh. I don't like. There's one other thing I don't like about this, and it's a minor detail. Some might say detail. It seems that the hype sticker is on the actual record sleeve. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I like it on the plastic. I don't want that. I know Rock Candy, if you know that record label, Rock Candy, that's kind of reissued a bunch of, they did Kick-Axe and Keel and Y&T and I think bands like that. And they put their stickers right on the CD cases anyway. And here's the Swan Song logo hologram. That proves that it's real. I don't like that. Anyway, so getting through this track by track. The first one is Good Times, Bad Times. I love this song. It's possibly, I'd say this is one of 3 songs on this album that I would consider my favorite Led Zeppelin songs in their entire catalog. Good Times, Bad Times is great. I knew it, I guess, in the 80s. You know, it was on the radio. It wasn't as big as A Whole Lot of Love and Stairway to Heaven and Black Dog and things like that. But it was on the radio. But I guess what really got me into this song was Nuclear Assault did a cover of it on Game Over in 1988. I loved that album. I loved Nuclear Assault. and that was a great cover. That really, I think, made me appreciate Good Times, Bad Times more. It's a hard-hitting song. Short, that's probably about, what is Good Times, Bad Times? 3 minutes? 2:46. It's a very short Led Zeppelin song. And it's excellent. It's simple. It's got a great guitar solo. Love Good Times, Bad Times. Great drumming, too. Next is Babe, 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 Baby. Did I get them all? Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. I like this song too. Now this is, I have listened to the original version of this. It's not, and let me talk a little bit about Led Zeppelin because I am an authority on Led Zeppelin. I have been listening to them for over 5 years. They catch a lot of flack for ripping off these old blues guys and I guess Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon and whoever. I don't really care. That doesn't bother me at all. Now, this song was by, I can't remember who, it's a woman's name, Anne something, I guess, did it in the 50s, and then Joan Baez did it later, and I guess Led Zeppelin's version is more like the Joan Baez version. I can't remember. I listened to them years ago. Kind of suck, no? Both of them. I think the original one by Anne, whatever her name is, and Joan Baez. Compared, Led Zeppelin, for me, by far has the most, the superior version. But to me, this is not even a cover. This is like they took the most basic skeletal elements of the song, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and because I think the original version, it's only like 2 or less than 3 minutes or something. Joan Baez, I don't know. And so to me, yeah, they took the idea and they fleshed it out. They made it the way they want to hear it. I think Kiss did the same thing with King of the Nighttime World, the original version of King of the Nighttime World by Hollywood Stars. And King of the Nighttime World is one of my favorite Kiss songs. I love it, and I don't think of it as a cover. Some Van Halen covers, you could say that too. Dancing in the Street, maybe Where Have All the Good Times Gone? To me, they took the idea of the song and then totally redid it. Also, there's a band called Bailey Hounds who did a cover of The Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera. You wouldn't even recognize it. Tori Amos doing Rain and Blood. To me, the same thing. To me, these should not be considered covers. So, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. I like it. It's kind of, it's got a big feel to it. It's 6 or 7 minutes long. It's kind of epic. It's, I like that. It's got the acoustic guitar. It's kind of a little bit heavy. Good song, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. Next is You Shook Me. It's okay. It's a little bit slow for me. And I don't really like bluesy songs. There are some exceptions, probably some notable exceptions, which I can't think of any right now. But these kind of slow bluesy songs, and there's another one coming up later on this record. They're okay. And the harmonic in this, I like it. The time's wrong here. It's 6:28. You Shook Me. You shook me all night long. I guess AC/DC lifted the song title from that. This is another one that's a cover. This is a Willie Dixon song. This one I don't remember. I have listened to the originals of all of these. I don't remember You Shook Me, how faithful Led Zeppelin's version is to Willie Dixon's. But yeah, You Shook Me. It's okay. Now the next one is Dazed and Confused. This is another one that it's credited to. It says by Page and then inspired by Jake Holmes. And this is another one that, Jake Holmes, the original version of it from, I think it was just not too long before this came out in 1969. From the 60s for sure. Again, if you heard it, it bears very little resemblance to what Led Zeppelin ended up doing with it. And maybe this might be a more recent thing that they had to credit it or inspired by Jake Holmes. Because I know Led Zeppelin had some lawsuits and they had to give credit. Maybe that was why people were mad, because Led Zeppelin was kind of redoing these songs but not giving credit. And then I think 15 years ago, they had to give credit where credit was due, as they say. But Dazed and Confused is another one. This is the one that I mentioned earlier, that this really sounds like Black Sabbath. No, this could, I know this came out, a year before Black Sabbath's first album came out, but I didn't really know, and I heard Dazed and Confused on the radio occasionally back then, in the 80s when I was a teenager or a kid. And I was into Black Sabbath then, but I didn't realize until many, many years later that, Dazed and Confused, especially that middle, that fast part, that really sounds like Black Sabbath. Even the bass intro, that could be Black Sabbath. Aside from Robert Plant's voice, I think that's a total Led Zeppelin song. I mean, a total Black Sabbath song. Are you agree? I think so. I think, Dazed and Confused is front runner for my favorite Led Zeppelin song. I do like it better than Good Times, Bad Times. There's one other one on this record that I probably like more, that could be considered my favorite Led Zeppelin song. But Dazed and Confused is a killer song. I can't believe I hated it. I think also at the time when I was a teenager, I hated it because I knew and I heard there's like a 16 or 17, 18, 19-minute version of it. And I just thought, oh, fuck, just stop. Just play the song and stop. Now I kind of appreciate that. But Dazed Confused, amazing song. Next is, that would have been the end of side 1. There are 9 songs on this record. Side 2, Your Time Is Gonna Come. I like this one too. This is kind of a lighter, a little bit acoustic, a little bit electric, kind of I like the big chorus of it, and it is an original. Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones. Yeah, Your Time Is Gonna Come. I like it a lot. Black Mountain Side, filler. It's just an acoustic guitar piece. It's unnecessary. It's fine. It's again, this was where I could draw another parallel with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath had Fluff and Laguna Sunrise. These acoustic, not really full songs, but kind of like interludes or just something to fill time between 2 other songs. It's okay, Black Mountain Side, but I could do without it. Communication Breakdown. Is it possible that that's the first heavy metal song? Nobody really mentions that. I know I'm not the first person to think of it, but a lot of people say the first heavy metal song was, or elements of heavy metal were in Helter Skelter, Born to Be Wild, just because he sings heavy metal thunder. But that riff, Communication Breakdown, isn't that heavy metal? Even almost like what later would become thrash metal. Communication Breakdown is excellent too. I like that one a lot. Next is I Can't Quit You, Baby. This is another bluesy one. This is not quite as bluesy and slow and monotonous as You Shook Me, but I like it. A lot of Baby on this record too, by the way, not just in the titles. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. I Can't Quit You, Baby. And in the songs, I think every song Robert Plant sings about babe or baby. But yeah, that song is okay. And the last one is How Many More Times. Treat Me the Way. I love that song. Treat Me the Way You Want Me to. I love How Many More Times. Probably my favorite Led Zeppelin song. Not just on the album, but in their whole catalog. Maybe this, or I can give it away because I don't think I'm going to buy this album or talk about it. No Quarter. Maybe How Many More Times, No Quarter, Dazed and Confused. I think, am I missing? Oh, Misty Mountain Hop. I love Misty Mountain Hop. Those are probably my favorites. But for now, I'll say that How Many More Times is my favorite. What a riff on that song. It's just so, what a groove. That's really bad guitar singing. And this song is 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. And I love this song that this one does do a 360. It starts kind of heavy like that riff that I was just trying to sing. And then it's got that middle section. Now I got 10 kids of my own. Got one more on the way. That makes 11. Rosie, that part. And it kind of it starts here and it goes around like that. And it drifts away like this. And it goes really far away. And then somehow, I got you in my sight with my gun. It comes back to that, and then it comes back to that riff, and that's the 360. Great song. You start to wonder how can they go back to that song, but they did it. I think Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was like that too, which I've considered and mentioned several times as my favorite song ever by any band. And I'm not saying that this was an inspiration for Iron Maiden, but I'm just saying for me that the way they come around like that. Did that make sense? I hope so. That's it. That's Led Zeppelin. I can't imagine, as I said, I'm going to talk about another record. If I get another, I would get 4, but I don't think I gotta settle down with this. So that's it. That is all for the very first, this band that I used to despise, and now I kind of love. First record by Led Zeppelin.